Hello and welcome to the first edition of One-on-One with Dr. J. I will be your host, your CEO, your scientist, your guide to all things biotechnology and metagenomics. My name is Jonathan Scheinman, and as many of you know by now, I was a former St. John's basketball player. I didn't make the NBA, so I got a PhD in molecular biology as a backup. This will be a forum to discuss all things future fitness, next-gen nutrition, probiotics, and really just innovation and technology that will be disruptive and transformative to society as a whole. I have the pleasure and honor of welcoming our first guest, Tim Parker, MLS New York Red Bull defender, like myself, another former St. John's student athlete, alumni. Without further ado, Tim, welcome to One-on-One. Thank you for being here, and how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. I'm in a little different situation right now. Currently down in an MLS bubble down here in Orlando, but we're finding ways to keep busy and pass the time.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be sort of my first segue or question. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the world right now. I think many things in the sports world and community have sort of been placed on pause, but MLS has actually, I think, been one of the first leagues to restart. So maybe tell us a little bit more about your current situation, where you are, and how that whole bubble thing is working out for you guys.
Yeah, so we're down in Orlando, down at Disney's Wide World of Sports. It worked out pretty well. Obviously, in hindsight, it was a little bit of a better idea than in the current climate of the coronavirus. But we agreed to go down to Disney about probably like a month and a half ago, before Florida kind of became a hot state for coronavirus. And I'm sure the NBA was on the same kind of wavelength that we were, where we needed to find a market that could house all the players, that could provide training facilities for all of us. So Disney seemed like a no-brainer. And in terms of for us, our TV deal being hand in hand with ESPN, Disney, and obviously ESPN made sense down here.
Yeah. So I guess if I heard you correctly, you've actually been there already for a month and a half?
No. Sorry. We agreed to come down here probably about mid-June. So that's when we knew that we were going to be coming down here. But the date in which we came down, obviously with the schedule of everything coming out, we had to find out, the league had to get everything organized, but we just knew that this was going to be the place in which we would be training and playing our games.
So how many times have you had an opportunity to go to the Magic Kingdom since there?
Absolutely zero. The good news is I can see Tower of Terror outside my window, but obviously there's not too many people in the parks right now.
Well, I mean, I guess maybe you always have that option, but maybe on a more serious note, what is sort of, obviously with shutdown and quarantines and now transitioning to starting back up as an elite professional athlete, I guess what has sort of your training regimen been like over the past couple of months, and what does that sort of look like now down in Orlando? And you've started the season already, correct?
Yeah, so we started the season. We had 2 games before the coronavirus kind of hit us hard. But yeah, it was kind of tough, amidst the pandemic, like being in New York City, it was a little bit iffy if you wanted to go outside and go for a run or find a place to work out. So the club did a good job, obviously, of getting every player like a bike, to do little bike workouts when they could. But for me, I prefer to run outside. So I was obviously running outside, but just being smart about it. And now obviously we're now that kind of transitioned in the home market to, once we were able to clear for training. Once we got cleared for training, it was like Memorial Day weekend. We came back in. We were able to train individually. So it was like basically they would cut up the field into 4 segments, and they would have 4 players on it so that we are still socially distanced. And we had drills to do and stuff like that. And then about 2 weeks after that individual training start, we were able to start back into full team training, which was obviously happy for all of us, where, you could pass the ball to another person instead of to a wall or a wall bang, so that you could bounce it back to yourself. So, and then we were in New York until 4th of July, training. So it was about a month, 2 weeks of probably individual training, and then 2.5 weeks, I'd say, of team training before we came down here. And it's a tournament style down here. So we were about down here for about a week before the first game, and that was Saturday. So now we play again tomorrow night against the Columbus Crew.
Wow. It definitely sounds like a new reality or a new frontier of obviously professional sports training and competition, which, maybe somewhat of a segue to bring it back into sort of, obviously sort of what we're doing with FitBiomics, this being from sort of a biotechnology forefront that's really trying to understand the most fit people in the world, what drives optimal performance, how can we learn from that, translate that into next generation nutrition. But I always like to ask this with all the athletes that we're working with and that are part of our team and family. You and I think first spoke about FitBiomics, I don't know, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. I'm always curious, just very candid. What was your initial reaction or thoughts or response when we first approached you about FitBiomics and what we're doing, and like just interested to know like knee-jerk reactions?
Oh, for sure. So, I mean, first off, I was like super interested, because I was like, man, if these guys could tell me like what's going on in my own body, and they could tell me like how I'm performing based on like what my stomach enzymes are saying and my stomach bacteria. And I was like, man, I wonder like if there's ways that I can enhance that and make it even better. And then at the same time, I was like, man, I have no idea what's going on. Like I feel like honestly, when I first talked to you guys, I was like, all right, so what exactly is it? And I was like, and if you could obviously dumb it down for me, use the smaller non-scientific words, because obviously I wasn't I can't even remember what you got your degree in. That's how complicated it was. So obviously it's a little bit different for me to understand everything.
Oh man, yeah, I think that's a perfect, response. But I think you touched on some things, and I do think that obviously, well, first of all, welcome to science. We're sort of making it up as we go along. I mean, I think that's the nature of discovery and innovation, and you learn by iteration and trial and error. And I always like to say, obviously I've been in a research lab for like over 15 years, so here we are. But, it is an interesting segue, because I think there was something that resonated with you as a professional athlete. What are some of the ways that, maybe prior to thinking about FitBiomics, that you thought about training, performance, your body? What were sort of the nutritional regimens that you used to sort of optimize your fitness and health?
Yeah, I think to be as simple as is, like, I think the first thing first was I just drink a lot of water. Like I try to hydrate as much as I can. I try to not drink too many things outside of water. Not to act like I'm the perfect human here. Like, I'll have a beer and some wine, but in terms of like soda, I try to stay away from all those things, just because I don't think obviously the sugars in it is all that bad. And then for me, it's been a kind of a nutritional journey over the couple of years of being a pro. I think I found out what makes me perform very well, what doesn't, what makes me feel good, what doesn't. And obviously, I'm a sucker for a sweet. I have a little sweet tooth, so every once in a while I have to treat myself to that. But the more and more that I can find myself going without that, I do think that my body feels better on it or without it. And then nutritionally, a lot of people that play sports, and especially when you're growing up, you think like you have to have this high carb diet, pasta before every game. I don't really believe in that, honestly. Like, I'm not a big pasta eater if I have to make the pasta. So I enjoy going to Italian restaurants and I enjoy that. But for me, I think the biggest thing that I enjoy eating is I enjoy the protein side. So I enjoy eating a lot of protein and letting my body release the energy that way.
I see. Interesting. I mean, so first of all, when you said sort of the Italian, this is going back to St. John's days, and you know, obviously I was at St. John's, and I think, you know, you're also a New Yorker, and you played, you know, collegiately at St. John's. I just remember all of our pregame basketball meals were like at, I think, Dante's, this Italian restaurant down the
Yeah.
block, I think, from the field. And we'd always go there and sort of get pasta and chicken and all that stuff. And then we'd take a nap before the games and things of that nature. Is that what you like? What is that what you guys did at St. John's, or how was your?
Uh, the basketball team might have had a little bit better than we had it back then, but sometimes we had meals. Most of our
Sometimes we
games
had
we would
meals.
most of our games we would meet before, like in the morning, and we'd go to like the dining hall, and we'd like do a little walkthrough out there, and then we'd all go to the dining hall together and eat together as a team. But every once in a while we got a nice meal down in Aquista's. That's where we used to go. We used to go to Aquista's by the time I was there.
I see. It is interesting, to your point, how I think as we get older, I think when you're in high school or in college, maybe there's this notion of like just innate ability or natural talent, and you sort of could do whatever you want. But I think as you get older, you know, certainly you're a professional. I was never a professional athlete, but the notion of like, yeah, maybe I should really try and monitor or quantify what I'm putting into my body and how I'm training and recovering. And, you know, I'm just curious, have you implemented probiotics into sort of your nutritional regimen, or like, have you heard of the microbiome, or in anything related to like gut health or things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I haven't implemented in terms of like too much going on. I haven't changed too much, obviously. Obviously, I would like to. I think that's something that as I have started to work with you guys, and it's something that down the path, I hope that it's something that I can continue to work on, and hopefully, as I continue my career, that hopefully that can carry me into a further stance and a further better path.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess maybe just a couple of more questions, you know, and then I know, speaking of eating meals and stuff like that, now that you're in the MLS, presumably you have it a little bit better than in college, and you're actually getting fed properly and things of that nature. You know, I just wanted to touch upon sort of, you know, New York and stuff like that. I mean, obviously you're from, I think, Long Island, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
You know, I just got to be real. I'm kind of a city kid. I grew up in Manhattan and stuff like that, but you know, it's all good. New York is unified. I think you started maybe your professional MLS career in Vancouver, but now, you know, you're playing for the New York Red Bulls. Now, obviously, things are different now. You're in Orlando, you're in the bubble, but I mean, what were your feelings, I guess, obviously growing up in New York, playing collegiately in New York, and then having an opportunity to come back to New York and play professionally, I guess, you know, and, you know, close to where your family is?
Yeah, I mean, at first, I will say St. John's was awesome. They didn't starve us, but we just didn't always have team meals. But yeah, I mean, it was great for me to get out of New York, to grow up a little bit, to mature as a person and a player. And then the opportunity to come back to New York, when it presented itself, it was a no-brainer. You know, I think it was a dream come true. The opportunity to play in front of my friends and family, maybe a little bit more established than when I would have been right out of college. So for me, it was a really cool opportunity, and something that, like I said, it was a no-brainer, and I'm really excited that it happened.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's something that resonates with me. So I kind of, and you were there actually for my return home. So as you know, I played ball at St. John's. I then went to NYU to get my PhD. I then went to Boston to do my postdoc at Harvard. And, you know, I spent 6 years in Boston. I think as a New Yorker, that's not without its challenges. I think, you know, for me personally, if you look at biotechnology in general, I think Boston and the Bay Area are really sort of some of the premier cities to do that. But it was very important for me to come home to New York and really build a foundation here. I think try and be at the forefront of this biotech community development and leadership back here in New York, and really build that community, and also bridge communities between sort of technology and athletics. Do you remember when you actually came to, shout out to the New York Biolabs, when we gave our pitch to get sort of residency in their research facilities?
Yes, 100%. 100%. That was like right when you moved back, and you guys were pitching to a couple of different places, but I'm pretty sure you guys were fully confident that you guys were going to get this first gig that I showed up to. I remember that.
Well, you are a secret weapon. I feel like I remember, that might have been the first time we met in person. I think we spoke on the phone and via email, and they're like, "Hey, Tim, can you come down to New York Biolabs and just kind of like show up and, have presence there so we could like seal the deal?" And then I feel like we brought you into the conference room and all the scientists were like, "Okay, yeah, FitBiomics, that's great. Hey, Tim, how's the season going? What are you doing? What are you doing? Can you come down to Biolabs more often?" And we're like, "We're in. We got it. We got it." That's the nature. I always tell this joke when I applied for NYU grad school, for a PhD in molecular biology. I think the first thing all the professors asked me were like, "Do you really play basketball for St. John's?" I was like, "I think I'm in this program. I think we're good." So, by the way, thank you for coming down and sealing the deal. I guess the final question I'll ask, and it'll be kind of two parts. One, obviously, you've been a part of the FitBiomics family. We've sequenced your microbiome. We're sort of learning about your biology, how it changes over time between performance and recovery. The first thing is, what are some of the products or sort of applications that you would like to see develop that could personally help you, your career, your longevity, just your overall health? And then two, I think, what are you most excited for? Because really you are a leader, you're a pioneer, you're sort of joining us on this journey of the future in fitness. So what would you like to see? And then what are the things that excite you most about the future?
Yeah, so first off, I think like I mentioned a little bit earlier, I think it's super interesting to learn how your body operates, right? How every body operates in different ways. So when you we took a blood test once with St. John or with Red Bull, and it showed you what you're allergic to, what you shouldn't eat, and things that you might never know, right? So I never knew this. I'm highly allergic to hazelnut, but if I didn't take that test, I would have hazelnut coffee and probably not even think twice about it. But it might not be enough hazelnut, but still, it's just little things that you might not know that can help your body perform better. And I think that's something that that's one thing that I'm super excited to continue to see, is how science is going to evolve and differ from player to person and from person to person or from player to player, and how their body reacts to certain foods or how their body metabolizes things, what breaks things down, what doesn't. And then hopefully, this is a stretch, but I hope that with the way science is going, and you're able to harness some of these, obviously this is a big part of what FitBiomics is about, is you're able to harness some of these good enzymes and good bacterial breakdowns and issue it to the people that might not be able to break down food so easily, or break down something so easily. So I think that's such a big piece of moving forward, is just a healthier population.
I think, you just nailed it. I mean, I think
I was about to say,
I think what you're saying, when we react, when I talk with athletes and I engage in the athletic community, I think there's certain things that really excite me, and seeing, how you view the future, not just for yourself as an athlete, but for broader communities. And I think that's really at the heart of what we're doing. So on one hand, we're working with some of the most fit people in the world, such as yourself. What makes them work? What drives them? What drives optimal performance recovery? Can we sort of decode that biological information and then translate that into sort of next generation nutritional modalities? Now, obviously, this could benefit you. These could be probiotics, obviously food, beverage, and supplements. And we want to empower athletes. But I think what you said is really our mission. It's really now making that more accessible to the masses and making our technology more practical and more relevant. Coming from Harvard and Ivy League, can we actually, take that cutting edge technology and have everyone be able to participate and benefit their lives, not just from athletics, but just for health, wellness, exercise capacity, fitness. So yeah, I'm sorry to go on this sort of rant, because I think you just said it, and it's something that we're very passionate about. And I guess the only thing I can say is that all New Yorkers think alike, you know? So
Yeah,
all St. John's athletes and New Yorkers, we all think alike.
there you go.
You became a
St.
professional soccer player and I became a scientist.
There you go. St. John's just instilled all the good values in us. There you go.
Exactly. But, you know, with that, you know, I will say that obviously we are grateful to have you as a part of our family, as a part of our team, to really be a leader and a pioneer, to bring the future of fitness and next gen technology to the masses. Obviously, we're huge fans, we're big supporters, and we'll be rooting for you hardcore down in Orlando. So thank you for your time. We're looking forward to working with you in the future. Obviously, stay well and continue to do great things.
Yeah, thank you guys very much. Obviously, I'm wishing all the best for you guys, and I hope that when all of this is said and done, we can all get together and see each other again soon.
Well, absolutely. We'll have a next gen probiotic drink ready to celebrate your MLS.
There it is. There it is.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and we'll talk soon. Stay well, and thank you to all of you for joining the first episode of One-on-One with Dr. J. We look forward to continued conversation and innovation. Until then, take care.